Hey, how you doing there?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Nobody's joining us yet today, so I don't know what's going on.
Hey, I may have a nice new gig actually. I just got off of work. I've been helping out this gentleman named Henrik Anderson. He's Danish and he has a hardscape business. Hardscape is in like large um, landscaping using like stonework, things like that. But he has an entire compound essentially that's serendipitously just a block away from where I live. And
Yeah.
he's turned it into a co-op. He has a bunch of smaller businesses that work out of there, and I need to let this dog in a sec. And some of them
Yeah.
are incredibly like world-shaking type inventions, like fireproof paint, completely like an all-natural oil absorbent like material, two different types. It's both hydrophobic that can float and like collect all the oil, and then another different type that's actually you can, if it's like on the surface like land, then it's natural that can be spread out and turn right back into like usable soil. Like it completely renders it inert almost. Some neat things. Plus, he's given me the front space for turning it into a 3D printer store, essentially. So I think I'll be the first of the distributive enterprise. I'll actually have a space to
Oh yeah.
run a 3D print shop. That's what I'm going to do.
How much space do you have there? So
Hold on, let me let this dog
how much space? Yeah.
find the key. Nope, key is gone. Never mind. Oh well, the dog's just gonna scream.
Okay. Cool, man.
Yeah. So I think I really need to get the Eventbrite. I was thinking about another one doing like Picky at or something. It looked like the fees were a lot less on it compared to Eventbrite.
Okay.
So, and I
Yeah.
probably
There's mhm.
copy and paste your page.
Let's see. So if we want to do this, so probably want to get it. I mean, how are you in terms of in shape for getting everything going? Like as far as the space, you have it pretty much guaranteed, so you're good to go on that.
So that place, I'd use that place instead of my home. And yeah, it's pretty much my own office. Like I
Yeah.
told him what I wanted to do with it, and he was completely down. His business model is like really, really, really low rent essentially, but he gets a cut of the gross proceeds essentially. So just 3%. So it works out. You know? It's a great,
How much?
yeah. And
30%?
3%, just 3.
3%?
Yeah.
Just 3.
And then access to a full, and I think long term, like you got to meet this guy. He has some incredible ideas, but and he's a lot of organization in the place. But with his type of mindset, I had said, you know, like a downtown office essentially. He has all the equipment for a full mechanic shop. He has a welder. He has like the space. It's huge bay warehouses, drive-in. You can fit semis inside of it.
How far is that from your place?
It's a block south. So
Block. Is he using that right now for some events, or do you have any tenants right?
major events. See, he had this hardscape business. He had a divorce where it started going on the wayside, and then he got this place, and the business. That's where hopefully me coming in will help get the business back up around and organize the place because it's just a mess. But he has all the equipment and all the stuff. And the mindset,
Okay.
because very much a co-op type mindset. I mean, European mentality. He believes in community. Everybody knows him around here and stuff. And I've told him about open source ecology, and he seems completely amazed by it. So if you ever want, I hopefully can get them to help really organize it and clean it up because it's there. All the stuff's there to do, you know, to build these things and to take the distributive enterprise model into larger things. It has the space to do the same thing for, say, the compressed earth brick makers, or even microtracks or something else too. Like
So all that equipment that they have there. So was he involved in? Is he a builder of some sort, or I mean, he's got this whole
mostly landscaping, but he does
escape.
have mostly.
Sorry, did you say?
So he has a bull, like a bobcat. I'm gonna sit outside. The dog's pissing me off. So, a small welder, but it's a full mechanic shop, like even lifts, like actual hydraulic lifts and things too. A lot of random stuff. Plenty of office space in there. There's about to be a water filtration company that's moving from Washington, D.C. that has a great model of these really inexpensive, large sand-based filters that their business model, what they have in mind is to not just for third world countries like shipping over to Africa, but also for pre-treatment for like hydraulic fracture injection wells, because like their filters that they're using are incredibly elaborate and expensive. So to have these very inexpensive, large pre-treatment filters who would extend the life of their filters out too. So that company is hopefully moving in within the next week or so. So then that means...
Are they open source-ish too? Are they open source minded or not really?
It looks like it. I think so. I don't think some of the other stuff that's there is pretty proprietary. But overall, the concept is sort of great volume.
Yeah, all right. Hey, Israel.
Hey, guys.
How's it going? We were talking about planning for the event in Kansas City area, so Jenna's got a decent space. Okay, so how are things on your side, Israel? Need that.
I'm gonna mute the microphone.
Okay. Muted. Okay.
Can't hear that now, can you? Good.
Okay.
Hey there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, fill us in where you're at. Looks like progress going in the Kansas City event.
Yeah, I've running a little bit behind, I guess. But I finally finished the, group description of how I want to start the group, and hopefully I can generate some interest through the group. So I'll be posting that online today on Meetup, and then posting the event as well. Hopefully within this week I can generate enough interest to determine whether, it's going to be worth continuing, right?
Okay, so you're pretty much looking for some feedback on how that looks like. I mean,
yeah, that'd be great. I can post it on Google Docs.
So tell us more about. I mean, what's it dependent? So you're not going to announce the event until you get some feedback, essentially.
Well, I'm going to post the event tonight, and hopefully, I get a positive response, right? I'm assuming I will get a positive response, but hopefully I will.
Okay. Okay. And this is how are you posting that? So what?
Yeah, through meetup.com.
And is that so? That also includes the registration part, or?
So the registration part will go through Eventbrite as well, just like you did it.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of places that post an event on Meetup, and then they'll post a link to their Eventbrite page where they can just do the registration part of it.
Okay.
So that's how I was planning on doing it.
Right. Do you have any links that you can share as far as how
Uh,
this looks right now, or?
yeah. Well, not to the Meetup page, but I'll give you a description, I guess, of the group.
Stacy, how are things with you?
Good. I got my part in the mail today
Okay, just came in
that
today.
you sent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So you haven't played with any of that yet, so maybe I guess the next step, just in terms of the getting the bed leveling up, would be for everybody to actually download that. Well, make it work. Only other person that emailed me about that was Ryan, so he also got the part, but other people haven't. So um, I guess that's the only people. Probably Stacy for the next step on that, the same document as last time, which I'm pasting in right now. There's the notes on what the process is. That still is relevant. First, it's installing the part, and then downloading the code. What I would suggest is that for anybody doing that, download the Arduino and the Printer software as on, let's see, it's on page download Arduino, download Printer according to the links. That way you can run it on your local computer. It should be pretty straightforward. Just downloading that and making it work on your computer. The links are there in the document, so probably wait for that. And I guess we should probably continue once you have it installed. You can set the way it works is actually just plug in the sensor, and after you plug it in, you can run the former code. If you had it running before, you can run that exactly, just that, except for, I mean, it will make believe that the end step on the Z is the sensor, like when you just have it installed and put in. Um, the old code will work with it, essentially. And then once you have that, then we make the automatic code work. The automatic code is essentially one line. If you'd have to go into the configuration.h like we have done, but you just uncomment one line. Basically, it basically is you uncomment the line such that you just basically make auto leveling work. There's one line, you just uncomment it, and it activates the automatic leveling. So that's how that will work. But I guess we should have that once you do that, install the sensor. I just suggest we just go again next Monday, and once you have that all installed, we can run you through it. Probably the best way to go. Yeah. Does that sound, Stacy? Does that sound good?
Yeah. That sounds good.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds. And right now we're just touching in on the next event. So Israel, see, are you pulling up a link for us, or are you trying to?
Yeah, so I posted it on chat, I guess. Have you
Can you
gotten
paste that in? Where'd you paste it?
on the chat?
on chat. Don't see
Should be a Dropbox link.
on chat of the.
Yeah, I see it there.
I see the automatic bed leveling document as the last document shared.
Yeah.
Where is that? Do you see me asking where?
Hold on.
Oh, are you?
No, I don't see that.
You don't see that. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Are you looking at the Google Hangout? You might have two things going on at the same time. You're like on your.
Yeah, because I'm on the tablet and I'm on the desktop on the chat, but I'm on the video.
Okay. No, I don't. I don't see the link.
I'll try something else, I guess.
So regarding.
Okay.
But you have just posted that, you're saying?
Yeah, so I tried to go to the chat link on the desktop, and it doesn't let me go because I guess it doesn't support my version of Firefox. But it is on the chat. I don't know why you can't see that though.
I can't see. If I Google it, like what'd you call it?
What's that?
What do you call
How about
the
I just
event?
post
Can I
it on
Google
the log, on the work log?
Yeah.
You should be able to do
Go ahead.
that, right?
Uh-huh.
I'll do that.
Mm-hmm. You have a one called Israel log.
Yeah, there is a Israel log.
Yeah. And the venue for you, Israel, what was that again?
Say again?
The venue that you secured for that is what again?
Yeah, that's going to be the Sodo makerspace.
Okay.
And I also need to send them the information for that meetup page once that gets posted up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever end up making a planning document of some sort, like with the timelines, like a
So
critical path?
I just have it as a list, no timeline associated with it though.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's going to help a lot more though. I just need to put the time into it, I guess.
Yeah.
Seems a lot easier to just list things rather than give them a timeline, but I know giving it a timeline actually gets you to do it, right?
Well, I'm behind on my timeline.
I mean, I get it. I get the, I get why you're emphasizing it, but yeah, I just need to do it. You're right.
Yeah. Then how do you think? So you're pretty set. Is there any blocks that you have in terms of doing the first workshop?
Um, I don't know, man. It's a good question. So once we get, once people start coming in requesting or registering, and I have money, I'm assuming get a couple printers in, have whoever's going to help me get together with me to build, actually do a build, and I mean I keep, I guess, operating on the actual what do you call them, the instructional materials, right?
Mm-hmm. Did you get
I
a
mean,
chance to work on any of that yet?
no, not yet. No, I started communicating with Joshua, but I haven't heard from him again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
How do you feel about that? That's gonna you guys gonna have time enough to do that? Sounds like Joshua's
well,
got the time to work on it.
he does have the time, yeah. Yeah, like I feel like we should have the time to do it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm starting to feel like we might be, a bit pressed once the day comes down, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's still full 4 weeks now since you've done it before, and it's the main thing is to make sure the inventory is in, and I mean, you've got the skills pretty much to build it. That's not the issue. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
there's still 4 weeks. So I mean, as long as like the first 2 weeks you spend on mastering that, then it could be pretty good, and then you can spend some time communicating with the participants and getting them involved as much as they could be.
Right.
Um, I don't know if it's any helpful to, if we look at the, I'm going to share my screen here. If we look at, um, let's see, the development spreadsheet, I mean, ultimately, for people to be able to replicate this, you have to have people pretty much follow a whole procedure. So in an event, let me share this here, um, right there. But again, if you go into the development spreadsheet, so on the wiki, if you go to D3D, so if you go, are you still working on pasting that in your log?
No, it's in the log now.
Sure is. All right. Hey, what's that? Download. What is that? It's a web page?
No, it's the description. I just
Oh,
exported it as a
oh,
HTML.
okay. So is there? Can you send a link of anything where it's actually up online, like that we can see it?
No, because I haven't posted it, but I plan on doing
Okay.
it as as soon as we're done. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll
Okay. Right.
post that up on the log as well, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Put that on. So, I mean, we can help you promote it. So email me, send me the link, and we can promote it on the OSC Facebook page.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, so this is just a description of
Meetup group,
okay, and you're calling it what? Like
Seattle Build Group.
Seattle Build Group. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Um, yeah, cool. So that sounds good. So if you look at the D3D development page in the spreadsheet itself, I just want to show you that. But at the end of the day, we want to, as soon as when we get more and more of this experience and see how this works, there's one thing under event organization so the second tab in the spreadsheet. But in terms of operations, like for the actual workshop, we should do something like an operations manual. Okay, so if I click on that, the operations manual will tell you everything. Well, we're kind of like, you know, almost doing that here, but okay. Let me go into that template and edit it. There's I forgot to add that link in there, but there's a template on the wiki which is called Operations Manual Template right there. So at some point, once we get this thing pretty effective, um, what we're doing is this. There's a download to this or a link to this template. This is from Aleph Objects, which is a 3D printing company. They've got a whole open source operations manual. They pretty much share their business operations. So if you look at that, they have everything. Like, I just want to show you that real quick. Operations manual template here. I'm just going to put that link here. This is linked off the development spreadsheet, but I put the link to this operations template. But look at this. This is what they're showing to the world so people can learn. I mean, their goal is, okay, we're an open business, we do open source hardware, well, we also open source our enterprise elements as well. So look at that, like all the elements of their operations, IT, customer relations management, like phone, email, forum, chat, human resources, purchasing, locations, manufacturing, marketing and public relations, products, sales, shipping, warehouse, accounting, research and development, contact, etc. So that's something like Libre Innovation. It's so Libre it doesn't exist right there yet. They don't have much on that yet. But yeah, they have. It's useful just to look at it and then create one for the actual 3D printer workshops as we develop them further. So that's the idea. But we'll get that going. Okay, so as far as my side here, I will. So since we're pressed for time here, so we were going to do the May 14th. I don't think I can do May 14th on my side in terms of the new 3D printer. Basically, the person that was working with us, Torbjorn, he's not really working on this, the roadmap for that. But the status of that is, let me just show you what the latest on that is. So design evolution right here in the development template. I got only insofar as, okay, so we've got the added enclosure. Actually pretty much got the conceptual design to what it looks like. So actually this is actually a conceptual / technical design where you have a frame cut out of 1/8 inch steel, and actually the front panel, that's the cutout, that actually forms the side. So I sized it such that it actually work. So the front panel ends up looking like that, about 18.5 inches wide, and the height being like 15.5 inches. But that allows the second side essentially to be cut out from the mid piece. So it's a super efficient use of resource, and just some technical specifications on that. But that's as far as I got. And what I'm going to do on this instead is I'm going to recruit somebody to join a team on that as pretty much like a full-time development person that would collaborate with us either remotely or on site. Because I'm figuring, I mean, that's pretty much a full-time effort to be able to do that, to do the justice that it takes. I don't want to have a crappy design that may or may not work. So I think it's better to spend a little more time and get that done right. But by getting somebody on board to do that. So that's pretty much what I want to do. Right now here it's like there's some other priorities, like there's the tractor work in terms of planting out the perennial landscape, primarily the large number of nuts. There's like 12,000 nuts that we're planning out by May 15. It's pretty much right when the 3D printer workshop timing is. I got to focus on that as a priority, but I want to get somebody developing on the 3D printer with us in parallel. So it's just kind of shortage of human power to make it happen. So that's where I stand on that. Yeah, that's my update on that. Let's see. So from here, any comments on that? Any comments or suggestions on that? It's basically, yeah. So I'm gonna stop.
I haven't looked at the new
Yeah,
prospect.
no, it's that's the design, but we're gonna need to get somebody pretty much to work on it full time. We don't have that. I just can't do it right now. It's too much time. Though I am working on a FreeCAD instructional so that more people can get involved on when the design actually comes to being. We want to create a construction set for the 3D printing. So we put in all the modules into FreeCAD, and then people can drag and drop and essentially design with us. Because the idea is, how do we get people to really accelerate their ability to design and build? Well, part of that is going to have to be CAD as well. Otherwise, you can't really share. How do you communicate design? Well, you got to do it through CAD, and FreeCAD it's actually quite powerful. I was very, very impressed with the. So I did a pretty much big instructional. I got the script down, and I'm going to finish that. For the Sketcher module, it's quite good. So I'm liking where it's going, and I think it can definitely meet all our needs. There's no problem as far as the CAD capacity within FreeCAD. So that's looking
I
pretty good.
downloaded Blender. Cooling with that. It is open source, and it does also does G-code, STL, and it goes beyond just just regular. Like it's also animation and editing and stuff too.
Yeah, between Blender and FreeCAD, there's a lot. I mean, so out of FreeCAD, you can do things like export stuff and then get it rendered in Blender and things like that. The thing that FreeCAD is really good for is the parametric design, like the constraints within FreeCAD. You can design, just makes it really easy to draw things out and then put all the dimensions on it and move things around, symmetries and so forth, so that you can draw things up really fast, and then you can turn that into 3D objects. But that's the parametric aspect of it. It's not direct modeling. Like I think Blender is called direct modeling, where you actually change the shapes. In FreeCAD, you do more of the parametrized design. Like you get parameters for different things, and then therefore you can do things like scaling things in there relatively easily, things like that. But yeah, for a construction set, the FreeCAD that lends itself really well to that. So that's pretty good.
Marcin, is the OSC module for FreeCAD downloadable, or is it?
Well, as far as we don't have the. Are you talking about the CAD for the 3D printer?
Yeah, you said you wanted to do a
Not yet.
You said you wanted a module for FreeCAD, right?
Right. I mean, basically a workbench which has all the parts in it that you can drag and drop to design 3D printers. No, that's not done yet. The start of that is putting all the parts into FreeCAD. But I think so. So the idea is that the Prusa does have, like for example, the slides, like the X, Y, Z axis. We can bite off, like for example, the extruder slide. That's a good design for just a general carriage, and we can apply the same to make a very similar structure for X, Y, and Z. So if you want to really max out the modularity, you make the design that it uses pretty much that kind of a design throughout the machine. So that's one way to do it. It's possible to do it. Like for example, instead of using the screws for the Z-axis, you can also do the belt as well. So there's different ways to do it. But if we put in all those modules in FreeCAD, then people can design in that. They actually get involved in the design process. So that's the desirable part. But that has to be done. That's not done yet. So that's what I'm saying. We really need a full-time person on that. Jonathan, how are you?
Okay, I was trying to get online, and so I haven't actually put my laptop to connect. So I'm actually driving to a meeting right now so that I can
Yeah.
secure a location. So.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're just minding our own business here. So the latest on it is, Jonathan, just to fill you in, regarding some of the ruminations on human resources. Um, so on a 3D printer, just like on a brick press, the best way to go forward is to spend the time, instead of me designing the next iteration, spend that time finding somebody who's going to do that. So, I mean, that's a clear win, I think, strategically speaking. So that's what I'll do. I mean, it does take a full-time effort. I mean, each one of these projects is a full-time job in itself, and we really need to get more people involved on board. And I think the way we can fund it, actually, so if we invite this person on board, that means we can use the actual 3D printer workshop as a way to bootstrap fund it. So, for example, like a person comes on, and say 6 weeks from then, the iterated the next version in line, which means the version with the frame, and then continue developing from there. But it has to be, yeah, iteration upon iteration, and just streamlining and making it better and better, trying to, yeah, really to show the distributed enterprise concept that that the incentive is that you can get the economics out of it. So, I mean, that's something that's new to most
Yeah, having some.
people, and the culture is definitely not there. But we have to build that culture that people appreciate. That, okay, it's possible to have all these people develop because everyone benefits, and in principle, I really see it as a matter of time before some of these distributed enterprise products become the norm. I think it's just waiting to happen. But it really means a shift in consciousness in people, how people treat the idea of product development. Yeah.
Be free. They have the motivation. That's the thing. Now I have a place, and I don't have to worry nearly as much about my own financial situation, since I seem to have a steady job, and which involves having that front space for essentially a 3D print shop. So my next step personally is to purchase another Folgertech printer. I think I was gonna try out that Delta and see, because that's what I hear is like really some more accurate designing or printing is through the Delta model, where it has those 3 arms, vice the actual, especially the moving carriage. Doesn't seem.
That's a different one, totally different style.
Yeah.
So.
Do we want to stick to? Yeah, I guess we should.
Yeah, I mean, so that means if you ever end up going there, which, I mean, at some point with any style of printer, but that means for each version that you do, you have to have the very specific instructionals and workflow defined. Because people, I know that some people make it. For example, the people at the Michigan Open Source Technology Lab, they build that printer. It takes them 3 days.
Oh, really?
To do that.
Yeah, never mind.
So it may not be as simple in terms of time. So.
Yeah.
Right.
Stick to what we have, so we work off of.
So Jenna, if you're so to focus that on track of the Kansas City event, so you're looking at are you looking at the May 14th date, or are you looking at that?
The 14th or the 21st?
We initially said 14th.
Okay.
For the right. So Israel, you're posting for May 14, right?
Yeah, I am posting for May 14th.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, the advantage of having it on the same days is that you can advertise and, say, hey, there's events happening on today, and you guys can actually check in with each other. Like, you can have a simple Google Hangout or something, like at noontime or whatever. Say, hey, how are you guys doing? Stuff like that. So that would be interesting.
It's procrastination more than anything else. I mean, I keep telling myself it's my #1 priority, but now, yeah, I'll have it up tonight. I will have it up tonight.
Yeah. Jenna, any blocks on your side, or any?
Well, before it was mostly a psychological block due to not having any
income stream of any kind. Now since I have this new job, then like a weight's been lifted and it worked out perfectly with everything, especially regarding this because this is what I wanted to focus on. So right now, no, there are no blocks.
Okay. So is the guy that where you're gonna hold the event? I mean, so he's actually hiring you to do this work.
He's
as part of
hiring
it?
me to help out with his business mostly, which right now is is emphasized with that hardscape business, but it's me in particular because how I can integrate all the other business ventures that are a part of this to include my own. Like he hired me under the guise, understanding that I would have my own private business venture as part of this cooperative as well. And that's where I said, you know, I just did this 3D printer as part of open source ecology, and I gave a whole spiel about it and told him about it, and then the distributive enterprise model, and he loved the concept, and so hopefully it'll work, and this would take off. I mean, I have a front space. It's at a very busy intersection right there. But I can't emphasize the amount of organization that'd be necessary to clean up all the stuff. All the equipment's there. The space is there to do big things. But I'll just
How much of it?
front space just to stick to the 3D printing for the time being, while we deal with the rest of it and the hardscape business.
How much of that cleanup? How much of that cleanup has to happen before the workshop? I mean, is that a lot of work?
Full size workshop for like an actual like the tooling, all that stuff. I'd say they'd have to remove about 1,000 square feet and like organize 1,000 square feet worth of stuff because the tools are there. It's just a mess. It's just an absolute mess. So many different people are in and out as part of it. But I think this is the reason why he hired me, is because I'm pretty good about organizing things. I think getting people to work together and stuff like this.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds good. Hey, Jonathan, wanna check in a little bit where you stand?
Basically, right now I'm going to a hackerspace right now. It's called creatorspace.org, and so they're having their board meetings on Mondays. So I'm meeting with them tonight at 7, so in the next 10 minutes. So basically, they charge memberships for like $40 a month, and of course I'll be a member or whatever, but in addition, I just need their space. So they have a decent place. I mean, it's okay. The only concern I'll have is that the heating, the air conditioning during that time, because where they have it in is kind of a strip center area. So that's kind of the main concern. The other thing is just, ordering, getting the kits. So I just have to order the kits. I printed out my little sensor holder last night. Took me forever, but I finally got that printed out. And so my induction sensor should be coming in tonight through Amazon. So I'm going to install that tonight.
Very
just
nice.
really want to. Yeah, I just want to feel like I get that down before I'm going to have a workshop. Like, do you know what you're doing? Yes and no. Completely, absolutely. I know what I'm doing. So that's the biggest issue right now. So I really want to make sure to get all the bugs worked out, in terms of the printer. But
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That sounds good. So next week I'm not going to be online. Her part just came in, the sensor holder that I shipped her. So the deal is to have her and everybody do. If anybody's stuck, I mean, there's the instructions in the basic document, but if anyone's stuck on that, we'll go through that next Monday. So everybody has the sensor, the automatic bed leveling in place. Now I tried to actually. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, on the ISO, it was set to auto leveling, and that's one of the reasons why I had an issue. So I actually had to put it back on manual to make sure that it was, that I could actually manually calibrate it. So that's the skinny on that. But so that ISO does come out on that USB flash drive in auto mode. So just FYI.
Okay. And that ISO is the one From where? Which one is that? The one that's... Where'd you get that one?
Right, it's a 64-bit from the
Download from the wiki?
3D printer software. Yeah, from the wiki.
Okay, so 3D
So
printer software. Just take a look at that 3D printer software. Current ISO repository, the one, the D3D Porteus.
right.
Or the live Linux underneath there.
I have to get on there and check. Let me pull
The
over.
one, it's probably the one on top. Current ISO repository, it said.
Correct. I believe the main link that was selected there. Downloaded that. Went
Yeah.
through the whole deal and it.
And all the directions were correct on that, or was it reversed axes and stuff?
Yeah, there were some things that were reversed. I think my z-axis was reversed, so I had to change it. Well, I actually had to invert. Yeah, I had to do the update on the settings in terms of inverting it from false to true. So there's two different files. There's the INO and then there's the .pd file. So, or I believe that's right. Yeah. So those were the two different files.
.h. Wait, I mean, all that changing should be in configuration.h, right?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna document that for everybody so that, I mean, especially for Stacy, when we go over that next week, make sure we've got everyone on the same page and it's all working. The issue on my side here was we fried some of those, we fried, as you remember, like 2 of those controller boards for various reasons. But I think a lot of that was for the fact that they weren't plugged in right? Like there was a couple of things where...
Yeah, there needs to be like a huge disclaimer, that the microprocessor doesn't need to be powered on until it's done pure quality control. And one of the problems was one of the pins was actually bent touching another pin. So making sure you don't... Yeah, so that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my board wasn't seated correctly, and some of those heat sinks too were cross-connecting some pins as well. You need to remember that.
Right. And I took side cutters to actually trim some of those pins right by the heat sinks so that they don't touch.
Ah, good.
So that was another thing. But yeah, that's one thing to do actually with side cutters. If you get those kits, I mean, just trim those pins by the stepper drivers because they can touch. They can actually touch because they're sticking up so much. They can touch the heat sink. So that's just crappy quality there. But yeah. But for that reason, I guess the workshop ate up all my controllers. I couldn't actually. I was gonna just document all the bed leveling today, but I was short of a controller.
That's awesome.
Solder here on this one that I've got here. Okay, no problem. All right. Well, that sounds good. So it sounds like we're moving forward on up to 3 workshops. And Jonathan, I mentioned that instead of me doing the development on the next version, I'm going to wait to recruit somebody so that we can run a better workshop, but probably a little bit down the road. We don't want to give it up because, I mean, there's a ready revenue model right there in terms of getting somebody to collaborate on that and run a workshop to fund the effort. So I think that's something that a lot of people can benefit from. I mean, anyone who wants to fund some kind of a project, that's a good idea. Run and develop open source business, and that's how we can all help each other. Yeah.
Was there anything done on the manual calibration, like in terms of if you wanted to manually calibrate? I know that I saw that sequence. I mean, is that something worthwhile or?
You know what? I would actually go straight to, because the process is somewhat similar with the automatic probe. I mean, outside of the educational experience, I don't really see the big case for the manual bed leveling outside of just knowing that, oh, well, you just lower the head and make it touch, make that little piece of paper, just get it to the right height on 4 corners. Beyond knowing that, there's really no point to do that. because it takes time, and if you're doing a workshop, you want to go straight to the auto level, which is more robust, and it will take just a little bit of time to set up, because you do have to set the offset. You know, like
Okay.
to you have to type in exactly how high the sensor is off compared to the nozzle. So there's a little bit of calibration there, but I think we can just go right to that as long as people understand, hey, you know, you can do it manually, but then you have to redo that every time because there could be little misadjustments every time your machine shifts
Yeah, that's
around.
not cool. Yeah.
You can just say, hey, forget that. Let's go to the fast track. Because
All right.
yeah, I mean, there's really no point. It's like that's fine.
What about when you're doing the aluminum plate? Okay, so the aluminum plate is basically to help the heat transfer so that it doesn't like move around as much. Is that kind of the general thing? Or for the induction sensor as well?
Well, the idea on the aluminum plate is that I think it's about 3/16 thick, but it's so solid that, I mean, that thing is not going to warp around if it gets heated. So
Right.
it'll be just the surface itself that'll warp around. The heat bed itself, of course, will warp around, so it's not robust as far as getting a big print, but in principle, you can get an 8x8 by 5-inch print, like a big full print that doesn't shift around. It sticks to the platform. No issues about level. That's
Gotcha.
the idea.
Okay.
Because what happens once you print on an entire surface, you stick the plastic to it. As soon as it starts cooling off, it will pull on a bed. So you can't let it go. If you let go, then you're going to get a warp. You're going to get a warp
Right.
part.
I learned an awesome trick from my upstairs neighbor. He does a lot of 3D printing. Take ABS, so a strip of ABS plastic, melt it in some acetone, and then if you already have that on tape or whatever, and then just paint it onto the tape, and it sticks like a charm. It sticks phenomenally. Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, and there's also like you can use a hammer or you can use something else more appropriate to. That's definitely workable, but of course it would take time. And you don't want to do that every time you want to print. So that's why, like the build tack, that's a good solution. I think ultimately we want to go to this other thing that Lowesbot Mini has right now, which is it's called Ultem. It's this other kind of a plastic that's even better and at sticking. Basically, what happens? So check this out. I mean, the idea is if you have the build tack, it sticks to it like crazy even when it's cold. But on the Ultem, once it cools off, it literally pops right off. Like you don't even have to strain any. Whereas the build tack, it's actually really hard to take it off after it finishes. So, and that makes for a difference. I mean, you know, you're really going to wrestle some things. Like if you have a whole thing on the whole surface, you're going to wrestle that to get that off. Or the ABS and acetone. So I've never tried ABS on acetone, but I can tell you on the build tack, I had that other, I mean, the tiny part. I was struggling to get it off, you know, because that's good for sticking on, but it's not good for taking it off.
The nice about the acetone ABS is that it kind of creates like a second layer that it's like a sacrificial layer that it kind of pops off too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that but stay semi-sticky.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, okay, we got to get going here, though. So, any other questions? Any other concerns? So we'll meet again next week just to nail down the auto bed level next week after the people have the parts and all that. Any other stuff, Israel or Jenna?
I'll need that because my bed on mine is like all four corners are equidistant down. It's the middle that's actually just like raised up.
Are you talking about with the aluminum plate?
Not with the aluminum plate. I just put the built-in onto it and another Klepton tape right on top of that. And I've actually printed some pretty big things already that worked well, except for one, I think, because I had so much friction on my Y-axis that as time went on, I think it may have started skipping a tooth, perhaps, like on the belt, so that like a little over time as the build went on, it kind of started going up to one side. And I figured out.
Okay, maybe you need to loosen up that platform there a little bit, something like that. Yeah. All right.
I guess
and Israel, any together? Yeah.
No,
Okay,
no, I
Jonathan.
think yeah.
I think the main thing is just ordering the
Mhm.
kits lead time. So I think that's the biggest issue. So right now we got like what, 5 weeks, less than
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So getting the lead time on that. So that's, I guess, what would you advise as the cutoff time? We said like 4 weeks to give them a heads up, right?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely want to give them a heads up 4 weeks ahead of time. Like, contact them, like right now, saying, "Hey, I'm gonna be looking at getting X printers. Be ready so that you know that this order is coming from me." And that's same for you guys too. Just give them the heads up. And I think Israel and Islak, he said he already did that.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely give them heads up, letting them know that they got to prepare. Because even for us, when we got the 12 kits, I mean, they were almost in a rush. Almost couldn't get them. So yeah.
All right. So Israel, did they say it was
All
pretty
right.
easy? They said that they were good to go or what?
They gave me a call back and said that the person I talked to said she'd let them know. She didn't give me an indication as to whether they have trouble or not. I might have to call them
Right.
back and see if they, if they're still good.
I just
Yeah,
didn't know
yeah,
what the
definitely
return
give them a
policy
call back.
was. So I didn't want to order like 10 of them and then only have like 8 people show up or whatever. So,
Right.
but yeah, but what numbers are y'all shooting for?
I was thinking between 8 and 12. That's
Nice.
like
Right.
active participants or paying participants, and then whatever on top of that, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Because we're doing
Right.
Because the
buy
What
thing
one
is,
about
get one free
price?
kind of thing.
yeah, basically, if you do get 12, they do give discounts. I mean, they gave us a discount of 15%. So for the price of 12, you basically pay for 10 to get the price of 12.
Well,
Pay
maybe
for
we could
10
do a
to get
bulk
12.
order or something. I wonder if we could do a bulk order and perhaps get some more discounts and then just have the fulfillment shipped to different, locations. Maybe that's an option.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but that's something to coordinate with them, saying, "Hey, you're working with OSC." I mean, I could, if you want me to, I can give them an email too, but um, definitely coordinate that. You want me to give
That
them a
might be
heads
too
up?
difficult as far as shipping, wouldn't it?
Well, it's just a matter of
Yeah, I mean,
fulfillment, right? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's what it comes down to is that just, placing the order, having it being paid or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, we can think about it, but
Huh.
I just something to think about.
Yeah. It is a good idea, though.
yeah. I mean, you'd have to coordinate with them to see, okay, hey, we're working with open source ecology. We're getting so many printers. What kind of deal can you give us a cut on? I mean, they could do something. So make sure you ask for that. Yeah.
So I guess when should be the cutoff when we call them and make sure that they can do it?
Next week.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, by this, we're talking really like Thursday. Just
Okay.
confirm with them that, but you don't have to give them, they probably might have given you a vague answer because you didn't tell them that you're actually ordering. But if you give them a commitment saying, hey, I need to order X kits, be aware. And then you can ask for a firm response, like, can you deliver that,
Right.
right? And then you can check in with them as it gets closer to that date, make sure that they still have you on their radar.
Yeah.
They're a small company, but I mean, you just want to really be on top of it. 'Cause, say they get a
Gotcha.
big order from someone else or something, it's kind of fragile.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, I've got to run. I've got to go in there and see what I
Okay.
can wheel and deal. So I'll talk to you guys.
All right, guys. Thanks a
All
lot.
right.
See
Have a
you
good
later.
night.
Mhm.